We learned earlier this morning in the show that celiac disease is a condition where people cannot eat gluten, which is a certain protein found in wheat, barley, rye, and contaminated oats. The only cure really is by eating a gluten-free diet, which is really more difficult than it sounds. It can be tough. Registered dietitian Anessa Chumbly joins us this morning with tips on living gluten-free. This is where people see in the store the aisles and the labels now that are coming out that are saying gluten-free, because I've seen them before and thought, you know, why do I need to care about gluten?
And why do I care about it? First of all, to make it a little, bring it home, gluten's responsible for the chewiness in bread. So I know you make a lot of bread at home, and when you do, you're beating it or you're kneading it, and it gets tougher and tougher. That's literally like the little gluten rubber bands. They're almost like rubber bands. The hard thing is they're also used in lots of products in manufacturing, like vinegar, because vinegar comes from alcohol and alcohol comes from barley. And we just said wheat, rye, oats, and barley. I think of it Rob. And so then vinegar's out, so then dressings are, you've got to watch out for those. So there's a lot of things people have to take into consideration.
And for the record, I don't make much bread, but I put a lot of peanut butter on my bread that I buy at the store. But you got to watch what you buy too. You also have to watch what you order at the store. I know some restaurants are really getting on board with this kind of thing though, but when you go out and you have to really be aware of the gluten products, what do you suggest?
Some of the tips that I would give is, first of all, ask the chef, not the waiter. The waiter's going to go, well, it's gluten, and kind of give you the deer in the headlights look. Second of all, a lot of people stick with those restaurants that have a gluten-free menu, which is a great thing to do. Outback, Cafe Patachou is another one. Don Pablo's. There's various ones. Yes, P.F. Chang's is another that's really good. And the most important thing people could do is not reinvent the wheel. There's free cooking classes at Wild Oats monthly that are gluten-free. They also tag a lot of their things in the aisles, and you'll see that at various places. That way you know, and you can get advice in support groups even from people that have been living with this for a long time.
And we have, they're trying to really crack down and put more requirements for labeling of this kind of thing so that it's clear on the shelf that you're not going to mess up your stomach, because it's the only way to avoid it.
Yes, and it is a serious, it damages the stomach lining, so those people aren't even able to absorb the nutrients they need, which brings on more and more deficiencies.
You brought in a lot of things here. We're doing a little cooking here, but also looking at some of the products you can look for in the store. Over here, I'm noticing the allergen-free label also in addition here. These are the kinds of things, why do these stand out when you want to go shopping?
Well, first of all, the best thing, to me as a nutritionist, the best thing about being having celiac disease or being gluten intolerant, and I hesitate to say this because I know it's hard for these people, but it totally takes you out of the processed food category, which is the worst food for us. But a lot of people miss there and need these kind of things in their lives. Cereals, they're cereals. I've heard that this tikiata pasta, which is made from rice bran, is one of the best and a really good one. There's some salad dressings. There's lots of things. You have to just know what you're looking for and find those products. And they're there, but thankfully there's a whole host of other things. There's dairy, there's meat, there's veggies, one of which we're going to make a recipe today that I made.
What are we cooking?
I made this at my first gluten-free class at Wild Oats, and I have to tell you, Zach, I was amazed at the undertaking this was for people. It gave me a new appreciation and sympathy for it.
It's like redefining cooking if you're
definitely.
Used to
it's very, very much a lifestyle change.
What is this?
This is quinoa, and my recipe is called unfried rice, and of course I'm a nutritionist, so I've got to call it unfried rice instead of fried rice. Instead of using rice, we're using a product called quinoa. And it looks like quinoa, but it's actually pronounced quinoa, and it's a whole grain that is a seed from the Andes Mountains, and the people down there eat it every day. So we're just going to add the stuff.
Kind of feels like wet grape nuts almost.
It doesn't really. It's kind of pearlescent. It's got a pretty look to it, and it works just like rice. You take 2 cups of chicken broth and add a cup of this quinoa, and it makes a delicious looking substitute almost for some kind of a pasta product.
And that's not, I mean, that doesn't look like just a side dish here. That would fill you up if you ate all of this.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be plenty for you.
Oh, definitely. I think it's delicious.
We have a lot more things on the table over here. I don't think we're going to get to explain them all, but just a feel for what you would need. Are there certain stores you would direct people to for a real gluten-free section or a row?
Absolutely. I can't say enough about Wild Oats has a section. They have things labeled so you can trust, because one of the things is cross-contamination. If anything's cross-contaminated and you don't know, you're harming your body.
And there should be warnings. This is produced where gluten is also happening. Okay. You can learn more about this. You can learn from Inessa, and I mean, she's the expert here. She can tell you where to go, what to look for. Really watch for the labels. It sounds like is the real key, and hopefully your store is participating and making these very apparent for you. Inessa Chumley, thanks for coming in this morning.
Yeah, thanks so much, Zach.
Happy eating, everyone. I don't know how long, Jim, this is going to last here in the studio. Maybe we can microwave it up for you over here.
You got to try some, Zach, and then I'll try some a little bit later on after I finish up this forecast.